Hey guys, Josh here, CPR Garage, and you may know me as the old Ford truck guy, and well, I am, but I actually got my start on something a lot more like this. Okay, cold start. Let's see if she'll start. On the first kick. But in this episode, it's all about bikes. (2003) 100th anniversary Softail Deuce. And I don't know what that blue color is, but I love it. The 100th anniversary's got this pinstripe that says Harley Davidson, the emblems, and I think that's it. Feeling the shot, so real quick. 2011 Dyna Fat Bob, 9,600 miles, totally stock. And here's the part that, oh god. Well, here's bike number 3, counting taters. 2008 Dyna Lowrider Anniversary Amber Whiskey. Pretty nice. Yep. This is Donna, my 03 Harley Softail Deuce 100th anniversary. So we're going to talk about what you're getting into if you buy a classic Harley. We're also going to talk about some self-care and also what you're getting into if that classic Harley has been sitting more for the past 5 or 6 years than it's been ridden. So let's get into it. So real quick, even though this thing is mint, I mean, it's the one that you want to find. It's not without a few little issues, and that's from sitting. Even though it's well polished, it was in a garage, had a cover on it, right? Was still ridden every once in a while in the owner's manual. So the 15K service on this was done in November 2016. So that was 15,000 miles. When I bought it, it had 17,080 miles. So that's only, in the last 8 years, it's been ridden 2,000 miles. So that's why the gas was past its prime. Another thing you really want to check is date codes on your tires. Here, let me get in here. Let me show you this. Yeah, I didn't. Okay, so this front one is brand new, but I'm gonna show you what you're looking for. Motorcycles especially, because they tend to sit a lot and not get a lot of miles. There's a DOT date code. Might be on the other side. Here is the DOT number right there by my thumb. Not this stamped thing, the one that's actually in the molding. So 0921, which would mean that that tire is from the 9th week, I believe, of 2021. So plenty good. I believe the guy that it's brand new, because it could have been sitting on the shelf for a couple years. So he said he just put that on there. I mean, you can see why this is the one I chose, because just, I mean, look at it. It's like a factory custom. It already has like the things done to it that you would do to a bike when you buy it. You know what that means? We had to get another one to build, because, you know, that's how I roll. So if you want to see what's under that cover over there, hit that subscribe button. If you ride, drop a comment below and let us know what you ride, or if you just like bikes and you want to see more bike stuff, let me know. Just hitting all the chrome real quick with some glass cleaner, because it seems like no matter how hard you try, you always get a couple water spots on stuff. So when most of your friends are cops and you say that you're going to get back into riding motorcycles, I mean, what do you think the first thing they say is? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Especially, where's my crash investigators at? You know. Yeah, I know. They're dangerous, but a lot of the, I'm sure you know, a lot of the crashes, a lot of the fatal crashes with bikes involve people doing things they shouldn't, just like fatal crashes with cars. There's alcohol or speed or recklessness on board, but I know. I'm slowly getting gear. I mean, I'm on a fixed income now, you know, isn't that what retired people say? I'm on a fixed income. So, but I slowly am getting gear, and yeah, don't be doing stuff you shouldn't be doing. Wear the proper gear, all that stuff. The other side of it is, okay, if you don't ride the dangerous motorcycle, what are you, little buddy? You're not supposed to be there. That must be the fuel sender. If you don't ride the dangerous motorcycle and you're miserable, and then you drink yourself to death or destroy other parts of your life, I mean, what are you really winning there, you know? Okay, I'm out here for some actual wrench therapy. So I can tell, well, here's the thing. If you're gonna buy a bike that's been sitting quite a bit over the last couple of years, even if they started every once in a while, even if they ran maybe a tank of gas through it over the last couple of years, this thing was spitting and sputtering a little bit on the low end, but it would clean up past like half throttle or so, especially at low RPM and low throttle input. So the first thing I did was take the gas cap off, and you guys can't smell this, but that gas is old. Messed with enough old cars that I know what that smells like. And when I fired it up in the garage just a little bit ago for a little video, you can smell by the way the exhaust smells that the gas is bad and old. I really don't think there's going to be rust or crud or any that kind of stuff in there, but more so it's to the point where this gas won't burn completely because it loses its volatility a little bit as it gets old. So I don't know if I can video this or not, but got a little drain plug right here. Try to drain that without making a mess. Wish me luck. I don't have any way to show you. I'll just show you the jugs after I'm done. Okay, well that actually went pretty good. Didn't even spill a drop. Yep, we're good. Oh, that's just, don't worry, that's just water.
Oh, that little guy. I wouldn't worry about that little guy.
Don't worry about that little guy. That's just a leak, little Little leak in the roof. Yeah, probably gonna make a mess if the tank's pretty full. Side note, don't do this if you have to go pee, which I have to go pee right now. But anyway, I tried to limit it as much as I could. I got a lot on the ground, but as far as the bike goes, I think I just got a little bit on the horn shield and on the primary case cover, which not a big deal. I will let it dry and then clean it off with like some Simple Green real good and hose it with water. The floor, I'm just gonna have to wait for that to evaporate. I'm gonna pull the bike forward out of it, but I mean, that was full. So, and it doesn't look too bad. You can see that first jug is pretty yellow. It should be clearer than that. And this is at the stage where the gas has just started to turn. It has turned. So I'm not worried about any junk in there or anything like that. There'll be a little bit still left in the lines and the injector and stuff, but I will fill the tank up with fresh gas, and the rest of the old stuff should be burned out of there in like 5 minutes. So glad I did that. That gas was no bueno. Again, the smell, just if you know that smell from old cars, you can tell when the gas is bad. And that's probably what the entire issue was. I'm still gonna pull plugs and have a look though. So yes, we did make a big old mess, but just rolled the bike forward and it's still wet. And as you can see, you can't even really tell. There's a little bit here on the chain case, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Could have tried to suck some out first. I guess that would have been better, but anyway, I don't know how old that gas was, but it was too old. Don't get in a rush. Don't be smoking a dart or a stogie when you do this. I am going to run in and take a break while the rest of this dries. I'm gonna wipe it up with some dirty old rags first and then throw them in the neighbor's dumpster because he's a smoker. Counting taters. Okay, so old Harleys, well, I mean, yeah, it's classic. We'll say it's old. I remember when they were new, but that's a different story. Ones with the oil tank here, the newer ones don't. They have a fill there. There's a line that comes down. You can kind of see it there behind the battery charger. Anyway, there's a plug here right at that frame cross member. See if I can, in that little recess. And that's how you drain them. I don't know yet if you are supposed to also drain the bottom of the crankcase, because these are kind of a dry sump system, but I guess I'll find out since I got a service manual. I know everybody does like the snorkel air cleaner things on these, but I like how that stock cover looks. I guess that files me in the old guys department, but just checking the air filter while the oil's draining, and she looks good. So finished letting her drain, top up or change the oil filter, and yeah, check the antifreeze. Just kidding. The guy I bought it from did give me that oil filter. Apparently you can just buy them at Walmart. Yeah, Fram. It's chrome and everything. Chrome Fram for a Harley twin cam. I don't know what those go for, but that was a score. So anyway, when I got oil, I got a K&N filter because I was just going to get a black Wix. I don't necessarily like the chrome on this when the crankcase is powder coat black, so just going with the black one. I was just going to get a Wix, but looking on the Harley forums, the guys like these K&N ones better because they have the little nubbins just like that one does. That actually is a K&N filter, so he ran the good stuff but gave me the cheapie, I guess. Yeah, I'm not gonna use that. Fram oil filters go in the garbage around here. Already need a motorcycle lift. Put that on the list. You can see it setting in the one shot where I show you the oil filter, but there's the oil I went with, Valvoline VR1 20W50. 20W50 is what it calls for, and I'm not the guy that's going to tell you you have to run Harley oil in your Harley, and as long as it meets the requirement, the manufacturer requirements for the bike, I mean, oil is oil, so don't lose your mind over it, okay? Also filled up our 5-gallon gas jug, put all of it in there, fresh gas. When I was idling it to warm up the oil to change it, which based on how it's coming out, didn't quite warm her up enough. It already was idling better. So after it had idled for maybe a minute or two. So problem fixed, I believe. I did pull out the spark plugs, and they are brand new like the guy said they were. The rear cylinder had ashy white junk on it, which is from bad gas. So another confirmation on that. Here's a good sign. The guy with the 2011, you know, new in the wrapper, Fat Bob, not very knowledgeable about his rig, which is not a good sign. And the one I did buy, owner's manual, it's a good sign. Service manual, I looked this thing up and these are like 300 bucks used, so that is a deal. And it also shows that he cared about his machine. Harleys are definitely a little bit more complicated than Japanese bikes, which is what I've always had. Hondas, actually, I don't think I've ever owned anything that wasn't a Honda as far as a bike, which is weird because I only do American cars. But anyway, instead of on like a Japanese bike where the engine crankcase and transmission share all of the same fluid, on Harleys you have crankcase, which keeps some of the oil, but that's not where you check it or add it or anything like that, because it's kind of a dry sump. You can see these oil lines here that go up to the oil tank. So you add oil here and check it here, and you drain it down there from that remote hose. Transmission is here. This is the 5-speed. You check fluid here, which I just did. So you take that Allen out and there's a little dipstick. It's clean and full, which he had said he had changed it with AMSOIL not too long ago. And then you also have the primary drive, which is in here. And you check the fluid by taking this cover off. And there's a drain somewhere here on the bottom. And this is an inspection cover, so there's a drive chain that's in here that drives. So this is the crankshaft spinning here, and this is the transmission input shaft. So you got a big old chain in there, which you're supposed to inspect at certain intervals. There's your quick Harley lesson from somebody who's also a noob. I'm sure I've done cooler things on a Tuesday night than listen to Johnny Cash and work on a Harley Davidson, but I really can't remember when. So adjusting the free play on the clutch because there was basically none. Not sure I actually needed to do anything in there, but oh well. Got the service manual. Basically you back that off, lightly seat that stud in the middle, then back it off a half to 1 turn and torque the nut, which I've done. Cover needs to go back on, and then you take all the slack out of the cable here, which I already loosened. Clutch was way too tight on this, which happens as they wear. Same thing on a car, just as a clutch wears, it needs adjusted. So yeah, yay, deferred maintenance. So just tighten up the jam nut, covers back on, and this is what you should have, is about that much of a gap. And I had none before, which meant it was adjusted too tight. So that between an 1/8 and a 1/16. Another good way to tell, and the way I could tell it wasn't right, is you have about that much before it starts pulling the clutch cable, and I had none before. It would start pulling immediately when you pulled that. So boom, adjusted. Yeah, I wondered if I looked like a dork like this. I do. That's fine. Safety ain't supposed to be cool, kids. now that it's not running on deck stain varnish, it runs absolutely mint. I am in love. Yep. In love. The reason I got back into bikes is to care for myself, but you know, I would love to get other people into bikes as well, you know, selfishly, so that I have some people to ride with, but also because I don't want to see you guys do self-destructive things. It's a lot of times something that can happen to a person and then go through something that is traumatic. You know, a lot of people have addiction issues, they have marital problems, they end up wanting to hurt themselves, and I just decided from the get-go that I was not interested in doing any of that, so I had to figure out how I was going to make sure that that didn't happen. And this motorcycle is a big part of that. People call it wind therapy, two-wheel therapy, whatever you call it. Yeah, it's not BS, it works. So what kind of clued me in on it was I remembered that I had heard from people. One guy in particular is a veteran who was a panelist in our CIT Academy, right here. He was the person with PTSD who, and if you haven't guessed by now, that's what I have, is PTSD. But anyway, he would, you know, he said that when he was having a rough time because of what happened to him when he was serving, he would hop on the bike and just go. So that kind of flew back into my brain. Make sure you drop that on the ground. But also, I got to reading a book, and I'll show it to you in a minute here. The book's called The Body Keeps the Score, and it's written by a very smart guy who has been treating military vets since the late 70s. So there was a part in that book where he talked about a guy who was a Vietnam vet who was having all kinds of problems, you know, alcoholism and other things, and, you know, rage and basically PTSD symptoms. And what that guy had told him is that the only time he felt good and felt alive was when he would hop on his Harley Davidson and go blasting up through the hills and the canyons and whatever. And not saying that you have to get a Harley Davidson, but I grew up riding bikes, and that really was a light bulb for me. Light bulb. Because what happens with PTSD is after you get through the worst of it, basically trying to survive and trying to get back to somewhat feeling like your normal self, once you get like through the survival mode of it, the next kind of portion is just everything sucks. Nothing is good or enjoyable. And so I was at that point wondering, first I read the book because, you know, I wanted to know why this happened to me, especially after being in 2 shootings. Why did it happen from the second one when I handled and recovered from the first one just fine? But I'm not gonna get into all that right now. But so I wanted to know why, and yeah, reading that book, the idea came to me, and I've had bikes before and I've always wanted a Harley, and you know what? After you have a you only live once kind of year, I'm just like, it's gonna be a Harley. So if you haven't watched my last episode on this, where I'll put a link up here, am I doing that right? Probably not. Up here or up here, I'll put a link to how I got this bike and how I picked it out of several ones that I looked at. Okay, Bryce is here to help me with science. Now wave, it was facing me. Donna, a little bit too loud. So what I have is some ceramic muffler packing. I already pulled the baffle out of these pipes. They're Vance & Hines long shots, I believe. Love the way they sound, just a little bit too loud and a lot of cackling on deceleration. I could keep the sound pretty much the same, but decrease the volume by about 15%. That would be perfect. So let's do a start here. Bryce has got the decibel meter. For science, I will stand at the corner of the garage here both times.
Do I need a key or is it unlocked?
I don't know if it's gonna focus on the phone. Okay. Go ahead. We'll do a cold start and then a couple revs.
Wait, run.
Sorry, neighbors. Okay, and hold that up so the phone can see it. Ready?
We got to 122.
Oof, yeah, that's too loud. So what I would like to see is about 100 at maximum. And like at idle like that after starting it, probably 80, 70s, 80s. That might be kind of optimistic. We'll see about that. We'll see what we can do. Stinky. Stinky, stinky, stinky. So here's the stuff. Okay, we're going to show you how to take your too loud aftermarket pipes. See the baffle there? Ooh. And make them quieter without spending all the money on quiet baffles, because this is like $5 worth of stuff. Most of it's stuff I had laying around. So I know this looks like a foot-long hot dog from Costco, but I assure you it is not. That's actually high temp tape, and that is only there to hold it together while I slide it in the pipe. Okay, first of all, you're welcome. I am a genius.
I am the smartest man alive!
Okay, and here is what the stock unmolested baffle looks like. It's about 13 inches long, 2-inch outer diameter. And you can see I tried some parts store shenanigans that didn't quite work out. Because I needed to go with a smaller pipe to be able to fit baffling, which is this 1 1/4 fence stuff. So if this doesn't work, I do have the stock pipes that were only used when the bike was for sale on the showroom floor, because the guy said that he bought those Vance & Hines pipes as he was buying the bike. He had them put the pipes on too, so he's never owned it with those stock pipes on it. So those aren't going to sound great because the other bikes I rode had stock pipes. So what I could do though is put those back on and get some slip-on mufflers. Cobra makes some ones that look pretty nice. I've already been creeping on that idea, so you know, It's always good to have a backup plan. But I'm here to try this stuff out in case you guys are wondering. Also, this is the batting. This was like $5 on Amazon. I got ceramic because I figured it won't blow out like fiberglass does. And in case you're wondering if it's all itchy like fiberglass, it is. Yeah, wear gloves. We got these stainless steel zip ties, and then the hot dog wrap you saw on the other one was like HVAC silver tape. It's really just to hold it while you're putting it in the pipe. You don't really need it once it's in there because this stuff will be trapped in between the baffle and the outer wall of the pipe. So anyway, here we go. Now that I got her dialed, I'll show you how I make this one. Okay, I think you get the idea. 2 hours later. All right, now my homemade sketchy baffle. I've got it formed to where it slides in and out. It's hard to keep those exactly parallel when you weld them on there. They could have made some kind of a jig or something for it, but anyway, ain't that kind of show. So this is mostly free junk that I have laying around. So did was kind of rolled it on the bench and got it close to flat, but ultimately what it comes down to is once you slide the first collar in, and then once the second one starts to go in, you want to see how it's misaligned, and so this needed bent down. So what I did was heated that up a little bit, shoved it inside of the pipe, and just gave her a gentle, shove. So anyway, after you drill about 7 Brazilian holes in your piece of fence pipe, here's what it looks like. Also, this fence pipe is galvanized. You can kind of see right there just above the weld maybe. I took my grinder and ground all that coating off of the galvanized. This is what galvanized looks like. It doesn't weld good, and it makes poison gas when you weld it. So do that. Now let's wrap her up and we'll show you how we do that. I'm gonna put some gloves on. All right, all the GoPros are dead, so I'm back to sketchy phone business here. Nope, you need to be way down there. Way down. Nice. That is not terrible. So here's my stuff. I'll just cut it while it's in the bag because it's not fiberglass. It sure pokes into your skin like fiberglass. I was able to get a little bit of overlap on the other one, so I'm gonna try that on here too. We gotta get it nice and tight. And what happens is actually when you're kind of squishing it in like this, it just gets right in ya. We're gonna go for right about that much overlap. I don't know if this stuff is any better than fiberglass, but we're gonna give her a try. We do the dumb things so that you don't have to. Okay, we're gonna get a nice tight wrap on there, and then some stainless zip ties. Go ahead and pre-stage. little pliers, roll it a couple times, and take a screwdriver and pry against the little chinks there, and get really tight. Okay, the death wheel turned out to be the best way to efficiently snip them zip ties, them stainless steel zip ties. You may think, hey, just wrap it around in a spiral like you would electric tape, but I found that straight strips is best when your space is really at a premium like ours is. And this guy's probably got too much. But we're gonna treat it like a corset and just see how much we can squeeze her down, you know. A lot of people just use masking tape, which is probably fine. I feel like if we wrap this tight and slick enough, it'll kind of just squish down as it goes in there. All this is to hold it on while we're putting it in. It doesn't need to stand up to the heat or anything like that, but I don't use masking tape because this stuff might stay on and help it last longer. So I kind of squish it and keep the tape pulled tight as I go around. That one, she just almost is long enough. I need another piece. The tape won't really stick to the batting, it just sticks to itself. So give that one an extra squish. Hi! We'll pull that tape tight. Nice. I wonder if anybody watching this actually goes to Costco and eats the footlongs. I do. It's my treat for going to Costco. Putting up with all that noise. Not that I don't love Costco. I do. I love you. You're the best. But there's always a lot of people there. I don't like people. Get in there. Pretty reasonably happy with that. And it's almost skinnier than the end cap there. I'm still worried that these are going to be a little too loud. I guess I'm too old because it's too loud.
There's a saying, Milo, if it's too loud, you're too old.
I'm pretty reasonably pleased with that. So there you go. Still straight through and still roughly the same size, but there's two ways that mufflers muffle, basically. One is reflection and the other is absorption. So reflection is these guys, the little scoops in there. They basically catch exhaust and sound waves and they divert them from the inside up to the outside of the pipe here where there's a little bit of airspace. They hit the outer pipe, bounce off, and some of them come back and they cancel out other sound waves that are going through there. This is absorption. The exhaust can go straight through, but we have all this packing wrapped around it and all those holes in the inner tube so that as the gas goes through, some of it can escape out through those holes and it just gets absorbed by that packing. Which is better? I don't know. It's a matter of opinion. I'm hoping this sounds a lot the same, but a little quieter and less popping and cackling. This might... Oh, that's not exactly straight. I might have to get a little bit Western with this. Basically, this guy is kind of like a MagnaFlow muffler. The reflection kind is like a Flowmaster where there's no internal packing, and it just has baffles in there that reflect the sound back on itself. Okay, well, that one was a press fit, but she's in there. With as much as I wrapped that one a little too much, I'm surprised it went in there with that effort, but it did shave just a little bit of it off. Don't worry about that little guy. I went ahead and cleaned the tips up with an SOS pad while they were out. So we'll go ahead and put that one back in and wipe it down and fire it up and see. All right, let's see how much crap blows out of there. Oh yeah, also how it sounds. You got neutralis.
God, I love that.
Sounds a little quieter. Oh shit, I forgot to wipe those pipes off. I don't know if it does anything after they're already well seasoned and broken in, but we'll just wipe them off. So I think it sounds a little deeper and a little quieter. It's freezing out right now, but I'm going to throw on the jacket and go for a quick ride. Then when Bryce gets home from school, we'll do our scientifical test. Well, at first glance, without any science, mission accomplished. Definitely less cackling on D-cell, and it sounds a little deeper, less bark, and a little quieter. I think I nailed it. Is any of the stuffing coming out? No, it doesn't look like it. It does have a bit of a smell, but I think I'm calling that a win. To my ears, it sounds a lot quieter. Do you want to hazard a guess on how many decibels it is quieter?
How much was it last time? 124? It was last
Yeah,
time.
122 was the peak, and just idling was like 90 to 94, I think.
Okay, well, I don't know. I don't do a lot with decibels.
I'm going to say 8. 8 decibels minus.
Oh, 8 less. Okay. I don't know. It's focusing on the bike. There we go. It's following.
Holy crap! That's like at least 15. Dang! It smells kind of funny. Do you smell that? It's because the sun. Hey, are you ready?
For what? Oh, yeah. $114 was the max.
Well, there you have it. Science. It does have a bit of a smell, but so far there's not any fuzz flying out of there, so damn, I'm gonna call that way more of a win than expected. I was already thinking it wasn't gonna work and I was gonna have to throw the stock pipes back on or get some different ones. I am pleased with myself. I'm glad I got to keep them because I don't know about you, but I really like the way those pipes look. Like, they definitely fit the bike. God, she's beautiful. Okay, this is going to be a real quick before and after. Taillight's kind of scratched and scuffed up. We got one scuff there, and there's another one there under the tape I'll show you. I just did this so that stuff doesn't get down in there in between. So, just got some Meguiar's Scratch X.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Oh yeah, much better. See, your taillight should look like a polished piece of candy. Nice. See how easy that was? Let's try to get that little guy. Okay, still not perfect, but man, that's a lot better. There's that guy. The only real flaw on the whole bike. And that's gonna stay there. There was a scuff across here, probably from my kid scraping his foot across it when he was getting on. Still got just a little bit right there with that. We'll finish wiping this down, and then we'll go for a quick ride. This is the book. The Body Keeps the Score. So basically the gist of it is PTSD treatment. And you know what, even if you don't have PTSD and you're somewhat related to mental health, or you deal with people that have it, like patrol police officers deal with people that have it, it's a good book to read to help you understand what goes on with it and why. Because I had a lot of misconceptions about it, even after sitting and hearing people that have PTSD talk about it more times than I can count. At least for me, it's really not what you think it is. I mean, there's like some of the things that, like flashbacks, nightmares, stuff like that, but there's a lot of things that people don't talk about, like just how much it disrupts your body and brain functioning and all of that. So when I have a real bad day and I'm really not feeling good mentally, go get on the bike and go for a ride. And man, it doesn't fix your problems, but it clears your head and you definitely feel better. That's what led us to here. So, and that's kind of where I've been the last 6 or 7 months, is I've been dealing with that. So my very last shift at work, my very last call, was a fatal officer involved shooting where a guy tried to kill me and my partner and actually shot at us, and haven't been back since. So you have to find purpose when you're used to serving. You know, I had been a deputy for almost 10 years at that point, and thank you, plane. Thanks, Dusty Crop Hopper. When you're used to serving and helping people, and then it just comes to a sudden stop and it's not your call, you gotta dig pretty hard to try to find some purpose in life. And I think I'm starting to find it. So not only are we gonna keep doing the things we've been doing, but getting into bikes and hoping to get other people into bikes. You know, I want you guys to have an extra coping skill as well. That's the best way I can think of to fight back when big time life choices got made for me, and didn't ask for any of that, didn't want that, didn't have much of a choice in how stuff went down. But when you start feeling better, guess what? Then you get to start making some of your life choices and kind of take the power back. So, yeah. Whew. I hope I covered everything without getting too heavy on you. Anyway, let's go for a ride and we'll talk about it a little bit more. So, I'm going for a quick ride. Drink some water, okay? All right, let's go for a little ride and talk about some other stuff. Come on, little buddy. So anyway, I'm gonna ride us out of here. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the bikes, again, let us know what you ride, or just if you like them and want to see more. There'll be a little bit more on this guy. And there's also a bike revival coming. That's the other one I've got. So if you want to see what's under that cover, stick around. And then we are going to custom build that one. I have already started accumulating a pile of parts. So if you like it, please consider subscribing. Take care of yourself whichever way you see fit, as long as it's healthy. And we'll see you on the next one. I am still working on merch. It is taking longer than anticipated, and it's not my fault. So stay tuned for that. I did secure the website, so it's going to be cprgarage.com. I'll put it in the description. I'll also put it in with some mental health services, especially for police officers, in the bottom in the description. So next time we're back on truck stuff, we're putting that 460 in the 78 Ford. Thank you all for watching.